those of you that have been here before, you know that when Mr. Brown is traveling all over the world, his platinum speakers take over being a part of this recording every single Monday night, all of the platinum speakers and these amazing individuals that have been bringing messages to you of inspiration and hope. So we are just glad that you are here, that you have joined us, and we want to make sure that you get your pen and paper out because you are in for a treat tonight. If this is your first time on Les Brown's free motivational Monday night call, we say welcome. Please come again. Please tell a friend and share the good news about what we're doing, inspiring and changing lives. So tonight, you are in a very unique position. You're going to hear from two of the premier platinum speakers, two of the individuals who understand what it is to tell your story and be able to create that signature story. They are D&D training and coaching solutions. They are coaching facilitators who do more than teach speaking techniques to clients. They believe that there are valuable and inspirational stories in each person that needs to come out. They help you identify your story, help you work through the blocks in telling your story and your life experiences. So you are in for a treat because when you learn how they teach you their unique story flow method of delivery to bring out the most powerful, inspirational, teaching and transformational moments for their clients, you will understand why tonight is going to be a defining moment for somebody listening because you're going to get to hear from master storytellers, teachers, and coaches, none other than Dwight Pleasure himself and Mr. Dan. Are you with us? Dan, the speaker man.
Yes, I am.
All right, so Dan and Dwight, are you both on the line?
Yes, we both are on the line. Stacy, how are you?
Excellent, excellent. Well, you know what? Before we get started tonight, I mean, the audience doesn't even know this is a treat. It's a holiday, number one, and they've chosen to be a part of Les Brown's free motivational Monday night call. But they didn't even understand that there were two of the master trainers and speakers, two of the individuals that helped to frame the experience of the Platinum family that worked side by side with Mr. Brown in understanding how to pull stories out from each individual to share their unique experience with the world. They don't even know what's coming. They're not even ready. But I know I'm putting on my seatbelt. I'm taking out my pen and paper because the two of you are masterful in being able to create an experience, and everybody has a story. Everybody has something to share, and I'm going to turn it over to you because I know that you have some special treats for the audience tonight that you are going to be able to share with Les Brown's motivational Monday night audience. So my two platinum brothers, please take it away.
All right. Dan, you ready?
Well, I'm ready. Let's go for it, Dwight. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. All right, well, good evening, everyone. Good for us to be here tonight, and certainly it's great to have all of you on the call. And Stacy, you know, you're my girl. I just esteem you so highly with the passion and the energy that you do what you do in the speaking arena, and truly you're making your mark. And so we at D&D Training and Coaching Solutions do thank you very much for that great introduction. And, of course, Anita, and with all that she does to contribute, it's really a blessing to be a part of this whole Platinum family. And to be able to be on this platform tonight, it's an honor and a privilege. And I just want to say before Dan gives his opening remarks here is that we have just started a business together, Dan and myself, called D&D Training and Coaching Solutions. And it's really the metamorphosis or the plateau of where our relationship has come to over the past 7 to 10 years that I've been associated with Les Brown. So we're excited about what's happening in our speaking business, and we're looking forward to tonight to being a blessing to those that are out there in the speaking world, and some of you that are not necessarily speakers. We're hoping that you can get some value out of some of the principles and concepts that we talk about tonight. So after Dan says hello to you, we're going to go ahead and get started. And just want you to have an open mind tonight. Want you to put your thinking caps on and just allow this time to be a time of growth, a time of empowerment, a time of encouragement as you move forward in your life, wherever you are and wherever you're headed. All right, Dan, go ahead and say hello, and we'll keep it moving.
Well, hello, Stacy, and hello to everyone who is listening. We greatly appreciate you spending time with us tonight after you have hopefully spent the day with family and friends. And hopefully by the end of tonight's call, you will understand that we are part of your family and you are part of our family. You are all part of an extended family. We all interact with each other, learn from each other, and grow from each other. And it's interesting that today is Labor Day because getting the message out sometimes can be hard work. But at the end of it, when you see the joy in somebody's face, the smile, the aha, the insight that they gained, the relief from the pain that they've been carrying, it is well worth the labor that we put into it to get it to where it needs to be. And Dwight, you're going to start us off, I understand, with a quote, and we'll move on from there.
Yes, absolutely. Well, before I get to that quote, Dan, and many of you that are familiar with Dan and I in our story forum call, we kind of play back and forth off of each other, and sometimes we surprise one another, and sometimes we kind of meet someplace in the middle. But so tonight I'm going to go ahead and in good fashion to throw a little curve here. One of the things I think is important for us to talk about, especially on this particular call that was initiated by Les Brown himself, and really is the reason that many of you are on this call, and we are the legacy, the Platinum Speakers are, in a sense, the legacy of Les Brown to carry the message even further, as he talks about that he's going to be able to take this thing to one level, and that we'll be able to add what he gives us and combine it with what we already have and take it to the stratosphere someplace. So I think we want to talk tonight about really the power of one. So I want you to get that concept in your mind. And the one that we're talking about here is we're going to talk about a lot of different situations, but the power of one person. And the person that I want you to really focus in on tonight is the person that you look at in the mirror on a daily basis. I'm talking about the power that each and every one of us have. So when we talk about Les Brown and the impact that he has, absolutely, he is one man, he is one voice, and over the past 40 or so years, he has made an impact literally on millions of people across this planet. And now he's traveling around the world, and I mean his influence, the residue of who he is being literally being rubbed on nations as we speak. So we can see then the evidence of what Les Brown has been able to do, but I want to encourage each and every one of us to know that we all have a place in this big, gigantic montage of humanity, and we all have a place in it. So think about your story. Think about what you have in terms of a purpose in life. And some of you know your purpose and some of you don't. So tonight we're hoping to bring you a little closer and to bring that picture into clear vision in terms of who you are and who you are destined to be on this planet. Les has a quote, Dan, that I like, and it really was one of the quotes that woke me up. And because when we talk about the power of one voice, it was his voice that woke up the speaker from within me. So I was his assignment and he didn't even know it. And I say that only because over the past 10 years, I can see the results of the impact that he has had on my life and on many lives that are on this phone tonight. But he uses a quote many times by a speaker out of the Bahamas named Miles Monroe. And I think we're going to use this as a launching pad in terms of a quote to really sensitize and to wake up the need for each and every one of us to go on the inside and to look at what we have and what we bring to the planet and how we're going to manifest what we have on this planet before we leave here. And the quote simply says that the wealthiest place on the planet is not in the vast oil fields of the Middle East. It's not even in the gold and diamond mines of South Africa. He said, the wealthiest place on the planet is the graveyard, the cemetery. He said, because there you will find dreams never realized, books never written, songs never composed, gifts, talents, and abilities that never reached their full potential. Men and women, boys and girls who lived and died, listen to this, with their greatness still in them. And as Les always says, he asked the question, and I would ask the question of the audience today. If you died today, what would die with you? What gift, what talent, what ability would you take with you to your grave?
Wow, Dwight, when you were saying that, I remember the first time that I heard that from Les Brown, and I was intrigued and amazed, and I felt that quote. But I have to admit, at the same time, I was a little detached from that. It was a little over my head. I could understand dreams, but songs, books, inventions, cures,
right.
I don't have that in me. Was that what you're expecting from me? I don't know if I can deliver this. And I did this exercise. I do it often with a group of people where sometimes we have this venue we use, and there's a cemetery nearby, and we have them walk through the cemetery and look at the people who died younger than them or the people who died before them, and then I have them write their own eulogy. Well, one day I was doing that, and I was walking around, and I looked at these tombstones, and I wondered, I didn't even think this consciously. What did that person die with? What did that person die with? What did that person die with? And then it hit me. I just did the ice water challenge, and it hit me colder than that. It isn't about the people who are already dead. It's about the people who are still living and haven't fulfilled their potential yet. And potential is this abstract word to many people, so I broke it down even further. And what I realized is it's about doing whatever we were gifted to do at any level. It doesn't have to be a book. It doesn't have to be an invention, a song, or a cure. It could simply be an insight, or a story, or an answer. Because, as many books as you and I have read, and as many speeches as we have heard, most of what has influenced our lives was not heard in an auditorium or read in a book. It was a person sharing their story, their insight. It could have been our parent, it could have been a brother, a sister, a friend, a teacher, but it was somebody who just gave what they had to give, not even knowing what it was going to do. And it changed us, and it guided us for the rest of our lives. And once I realized that quote became attainable to me. And the book came. I didn't know that the book was going to come, and I didn't let the book overwhelm me. I just started with what I could do, started telling my story.
That's exactly. So it's the idea of doing all you can with what you have from the place that you are. And those of you that are on the call tonight, some of you have really been thinking about and contemplating and meditating and almost becoming frustrated because there is something gnawing down on the inside of you that is really, it's beckoning to come out. It's kind of like, and I use this terminology, it's kind of like a baby, someone is pregnant with a baby, and that child gets to a certain point. Of course, women can obviously relate to this, and us men are going to have to kind of use our imagination. But it's when that baby starts to kick, and you feel that first kick, and you realize and come to terms with the fact that you have something down on the inside that's alive, that is kicking, that's moving, that has life, that has a spirit, and then one day you're going to give birth to that. And I would say that is a great metaphor for many of us that have something stirring down on the inside. And tonight we may not be talking to everyone with respect to the time and the season of which their purpose is going to come forth, but rest assured, there is something ticking down on the inside of each and every one of you. There is greatness gestating down on the inside, and one day, and today could be that day that the aha moment comes to where the voice that you hear coming from me, Dan, Stacy, Anita, or someone that you talk to, or you get off of this call and hear and speak with someone, and something ignites down on the inside. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about the power of one. And here's what I would say. We all often talk about, Dan, finding our voice. And we're looking for our voice. And we want to find that place. And we're working with speakers all the time, Dan and I. And we're working with a young lady now. And she is really, really looking for her voice. And that's really a quest that I think we should all get on, to find our place, find out what it is that I have in me, that once I open up my mouth and articulate that thing down on the inside, things will begin to change in people's lives. But let me throw a little twist on that, Dan, for tonight. When we talk about finding our voice, oftentimes we think about finding the voice that we have to bring forth to the universe. But here's the other thing I think we can use that term, find our voice. It's kind of like an Obi-Wan Kenobi thing, you know, where we're looking for Obi-Wan Kenobi. Where is he? Where is he? Well, there is a person that their voice is the voice that's assigned to you. That's powerful. Their voice is the voice, and again, I talk about Les Brown. Well, I didn't meet Les Brown until I was, in my 50s, okay? So I was basically on this quest to find or to come into contact with the voice that would ignite my passion, that would help me to bring forth my greatness, and that was his voice. So there is a voice, and we talk about coaching around here all the time. We talk about mentoring, and when we even talk about Les Brown, the reality is that when you hear his story, and he tells the story of how he began to manifest his greatness, he tells you about a friend, a man named Mike Williams. And Les did not see or know the potential that he had, but it was Mike Williams whose voice was used to ignite and to take Les to another place in his mindset and allow him to usher him into the person that he has become today. And the interesting thing about it is that Les is still hearing the voice of Mike Williams. Now let me drop this on you for no extra charge. And he's not using the friendship of Mike to get what he gets free. Les puts value on what Mike has, and he pays him. Hello, somebody. So it's real interesting that, this idea, Dan, of finding your voice, not only the voice from within, but the voice from without that'll help to bring out what's within.
Dwight, as you were talking, what I wrote down is that you were talking about the gift. And here's what gets confusing for people. That the gift is already wrapped, and sometimes they're not even sure what the gift is. And the other problem with the gift is it doesn't have a to on it. It doesn't have a name. It's just a gift, and they need to give it out there, and they need to put it out there, because just as Les didn't know he was going to meet Mike Williams, and Mike Williams didn't know he was going to meet Les, they just put out there what they had, and it became magical. So out there is someone who is looking for your voice. And as we talk to people and we coach them, a lot of people say, well, I don't have anything to say. And I had somebody in my life that used to always say, well, I don't have anything to say. And that was my father. And this month will be 21 years since he passed. And you know what? If he could come back and he could talk to me, I'd trade him 1,000 minutes to one just to listen to him, because he had things to say. He just didn't think he did.
Wow.
And if he had expressed them, my life would be different. So for all the things that my father did not express, I have been wandering and searching and reading and listening to others, hoping that I would find answers in their voice, because my father no longer has his voice.
Wow, that's deep. That's deep all by itself right there. So we're talking though. Yeah, go ahead.
And I say that because it's important for us not to be the judge of our own gift. Put it out there. If it's in there and you feel it, trust that feeling. That feeling was given to you. It was given to you to express it. However, whether it's to a group of your students, it's to a group at church, it's one-on-one with somebody, that feeling, that voice inside of you, those words that you're not even sure you're going to get right, change somebody's life.
Right, absolutely. You know, Dan, we're talking about the power of one voice. And we're talking about, and here's what we're really after tonight. And even Stacey, as you're listening, we're going after that person that gets on this call week after week after week, and they listen and they think and they meditate, and nothing happens. They come the next week, they listen, they think, and they meditate, and they go, ooh and ah, and they hear all of these great stories. We're going after tonight that person to say, you know what, it's you. It's you. You have something, as Les always says, something special. Now check this out. I heard a story shared by Condoleezza Rice, who's a former National Security Advisor and then later the Secretary of State under the Bush administration. So she tells a story of the final days or the overthrow of a Romanian dictator named Nicolae Ceausescu. Now, he was a cruel, despotic dictator that ruled with an iron fist and a hard hand the people of Romania for over 20 years. And as the story goes, she said that Nicolae Ceausescu decided that he was going to gather together 150, 200,000 people in the square, and he was going to speak to them and basically let them know what a great person that he was. And he was just going on and on and on, and he had all his cronies up front. And towards the back of the audience was really the less important people, the people that really didn't have a voice in that society, the people that were being ruled by this cruel dictator. So as the story goes, and as Ceausescu was sharing and talking, that Condoleezza Rice said that there was a woman, an old woman, almost to the back of the crowd. And that woman was listening to Ceausescu, and it just had gotten to where she could not take his hypocrisy any longer. So she hollered out, she yelled the word, she said, liar! And she said it again, liar, liar! And she was referring to Ceausescu. And then all of a sudden, 10 people were yelling, and then 100, and they were all hissing and booing, and pretty soon thousands of people toward the back of the audience were yelling and hollering at this dictator until pretty soon this wave of resistance and murmuring and hissing and complaining came all the way to the front. And to make a long story short, that Ceausescu and his wife got out of that place because it was getting ready to get serious, and 3 days later, Nicolae Ceausescu and his wife were shot in a firing squad. What ignited that overthrow? It was the voice of one woman that said, enough is enough. She opened up her mouth, said what she had to say, and that ignited the overthrow of a dictator 3 days later. Dan, wow. That's the power of one. And I'm saying to many of you that are on this call tonight that you are in obscurity now, and your gift is being veiled and hidden under a bush, and it really needs to shine. And I'm saying it begins with becoming to the point of where you know that you must speak, that your voice must be heard, and it can begin with one word, as this overthrow of the dictator began with one simple word that ignited that crowd and changed that nation.
You know, Dwight, that's exactly true. And most of us will never change a nation, but we can change an individual. I mean, you and I have used our addiction in the past, and we have spoken to someone, and 3 days later, they were in rehab. And 3 months later, the family was working on their issues. And 10 years later, the family was still together. And that man or that woman that we spoke to was talking honestly to their children and breaking a cycle that had repeated for generations before that. And again, it's the same principle. It started with one. If we had kept silent, who knows if that would have happened? Because as Les says, every one of us can reach someone that no one else can. We can say that something that they have heard hundreds of times before, but there's something about the way we say it. There's something about the way we relate to it. There's something about the way we use our story that gets past where everybody else got stopped and gets to the heart of the issue and causes a change. Now, the other thing to keep in mind is that it won't always happen. You know, you and I have a good friend, Evelyn. She's hearing back now from people she said things to 30, 25 years ago who are coming back to her saying, I've always counted on you. I've always thought about what you told me way, 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 way back when. See, it's not always magic. It's not always immediate like what happened in your story, but it's there. And you, the people in the audience, the people that Dwight was talking about, there's a reason you've been on this call and haven't stepped forward. You know you have it. There's a fear you're dealing with. There's a doubt you're dealing with. Trust it. Trust it. Step onto the field. Speak up. Say it even when you're not sure that you're supposed to be saying it. If you've got that feeling, say it. Even if that person acts like they didn't want to hear it. You never know what's going to come back around. You know that, Dwight. You've experienced that.
Absolutely. You never know. And, you know, you were talking about this idea of coming out of addiction, and we were talking about earlier about something ticking down on the inside as we get ready to close out on this particular talk. And I heard a story told by a young lady when I was going out to a rehab center, and we would go out there and do Toastmasters meeting every Friday. And she tells the story, and I'm still talking about what's kicking down on the inside. And I'm talking about also the power of one. And as the story goes, Cindy tells the story of how she was addicted to heroin and how that addiction was brought on by the death of her brother, and her response to his death was to go to use drugs, and she became addicted to heroin. And as the story goes, she had gotten pregnant. And a few months into her pregnancy, she was still using this heroin. And so she said that one day she went into the bathroom and she was going to use some drugs. And so she set everything up, and she got the spoon out, and she put the drugs into the spoon and the cotton and pulled the drugs into the syringe. And she said that just as she was getting ready to stick this needle in her arm, just as she was getting ready to puncture her skin, she felt the baby kick in her stomach. And when she felt that kick in her belly, she said it reminded her of what she had down on the inside. And she said she broke down and began to cry uncontrollably. She put the needle down, untied her arm, got up from that place, and never used heroin again. And it was the power of that one kick at that one time, at that one moment that caused her to have a shift in her mindset that literally transformed and changed her life forever. And later on, she gave birth to a beautiful 8-pound bouncing baby boy that wanted to come out, that wanted to live. And that kick made all the difference in the world.
Wow, Dwight, that's a powerful story, and I wonder how many times people had said to her, listen, you're pregnant now, you need to get off the drugs, and she couldn't hear it. And that baby who communicated in the only way it could, said the only thing it could say in the only way it could say it, with a kick, said, Mom, it's about me. And it got to her. It got to her. It got to her. See, and for all of you that are listening, you know, just as that baby had that power, you have power, and there's somebody out there that needs to hear your voice. Their life will not change unless they hear your voice. That's an awesome responsibility. The gifts that we're talking about aren't given to everybody. Dwight and I just don't put a sign that says drop in and you know, come in and we'll coach you. We go through a process of talking to people to see where they're at, to see where their mind is at, to see what their desire is, to see what their passion is, to see where their heart is. And then we decide to work with people because we know it's there. And if you've been on this call week after week, or for the first time, you're here for a reason. It's not coincidence. It's, you know, what's the saying, Dwight? Coincidence is just God's way of being anonymous? Is that what it is?
Remaining anonymous. That's exactly
remaining
what
anonymous. And that's what's happening. And I want you to, you know, my final thought, and I'll let you finish out, Dwight, because we are running out of time, is you've been given this gift. And it's yours not to keep. It's yours to deliver. And if you return it, I want you to think about what you will say to whom gave you that gift at the end of your life when you return it unused.
Wow, that's a very, very sobering thought. So what we've come tonight to do is simply to stir up and to cause a shift. We literally came to do what us platinum speakers talk about a lot. We came to distract. We came to distract you from the mindset of mediocrity. We came to dispute. We came to give you an argument for your greatness and the manifesting of your greatness. And we came tonight to inspire you to do all you can with what you have from where you are. Everything you need is available to you, without and within. So as Dan said, be about the business of finding your voice, the voice from within, and finding the voice that will ignite your purpose and usher you into your destiny. Thank you.
And Dwight, I was going to say God bless you to everybody, but that has already happened, so I am going to say use your blessing.
All right, Stacey, you got it.
I am telling you, Life Pleasure and Dan Smith, none other on the planet like the two of you. What a great example of what D&D coaching does in getting that voice out to the world. And Dan, you put it so well. I know I'm not trying to have any gifts returned unused. So I am just thrilled to know that everybody on the line can really experience the authenticity by which you do your work. It's not just training and coaching. You really teach and share insight from your heart. You know, your life experiences, your deep desire to help people become powerful and impactful speakers. Everyone listening tonight on Labor Day, taking time off to be a part of this free motivational call, they got to experience just the tip of the iceberg with the work that the two of you do. And before we go any further, I know we have limited time. We're going to try to take a few questions and comments if you have a moment. But I know that you do this work on such a deep level, and I want everybody that's listening to be able to connect with you. How can they get more of what they've heard tonight. I know you have a program coming up. Would you please share that information with the audience, because you have opened up somebody's heart tonight. They're sitting on their phone ready to scream, let me in. I need more Dwight. I need more Dan. I have a story. I need to get it out. Help it, help it. So please tell them how they can connect with you after this call.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, Stacey. I appreciate that. I love your energy tonight. My goodness. Well, the first thing is that if you are tech savvy, you can text the word speaker to 55469. Text the word speaker, S-P-E-A-K-E-R, to 55469. Or you can get information about our upcoming Total Speaker Workshop, which is a 2-day experience that we'll have in the city of Moreno Valley on September 12 and 13. 2 full days, 2 intensive days of training and development and storytelling and feedback and all that goes along with the Total Speaker Workshop experience. That's going to take place. And the website you can go to is just totalspeakerworkshop.com. Totalspeakerworkshop.com, and you can get information about that. Also on there, you will see some things that D&D Training and Coaching Solutions is about, which is our coaching platform. And tonight, I want to make a special offer, if it's okay, Stacey. Tonight, what we want to do is, when you go to the, all right, thank you. When you go to the website, totalspeakerworkshop.com, you're going to see 3 coaching options. And I want you to look at option 3, because you've heard Dan and myself speak tonight and talk. The third option for our coaching plan is a 1997 investment in your career, in your speaking. And what it amounts to is Dan and myself actually are on the coaching call with the client, with you, the individual. And I'm telling you, you talk about getting 2 for 1. It's even better than that, okay? And the power of having 2 ears, 2 people listening to the things that we want to share with you in terms of the coaching program, a 12-week program, is powerful beyond measure. So we want you to go there. For those that sign up for that particular coaching program, within the next 3 days, you will also be able to attend the Total Speaker Workshop absolutely free at no charge. So that's the offer for tonight, and we're hoping that you go check out our coaching program and then you make contact with us, and we'll go from there in terms of an interview. As Dan said, we want to work with people that are serious. We're working with a young lady now named Linda Hayes, and you're going to be hearing obviously more of her because she's working on her craft and putting her messaging together. But this young lady is dedicated and faithful and sincere, and she is a joy to work with. That's the kind of people that we want to work with. If you're seriously serious about taking your speaking craft to the next level, those are the ones we want to work with. So that's our offer for tonight, and we appreciate and thank God for this call. Thank God for Stacey, and then, of course, you, the audience, those that are out there. And hopefully you'll have a few questions for us tonight.
Wow, wait, before we get to the questions, I'm scratching my head. Did you just say that they were going to get access to your Total Speaker Workshop for free as a result of signing up for your coaching program? Is that what you said?
Absolutely. And it's deep discounted to $19.97, and you'll have, it's a 12-week experience, and you'll have Dan and myself on those coaching calls. And the way we frame it is that for at least 50% or 6 of those calls, you will have both of us on the call, and probably even more than that. So, I mean, it's a powerful offer. Yes.
That is absolutely incredible, because I know how much it is to get one of you on a call. You're practically giving this away. I told you all that you were going to have a special opportunity. I did not know what Dwight and Dan were going to offer, but intuitively I must have known that you were about to give the deal of a lifetime away tonight. So definitely, those of you who are ready, and only those who can hear their voices and are ready to do the work, as Dwight and Dan said, This is for you tonight. This is your night. Oh, my goodness. I just have to scratch my head because I know how much it is to get just one of you on training like that. And it's both of you plus the workshop. Oh, my goodness, ladies and gentlemen. You just don't know. If you are really serious about going to the next level, tonight is your night to make that investment. But I am going to open up the call, and I'm asking those of you who are on regularly, let's give a chance to some of our newer callers to pose a question and or comment to Dwight and Dan, and then we'll be closing out tonight's call. So stand by, everybody.
All callers are unmuted. All callers are muted and may unmute themselves by pressing *6.
So just to avoid any confusion with background noise, if you have a question or a comment for Mr. Dwight Pleasure or Mr. Dan Smith, please press *6 to unmute your line, and you'll be able to ask your question or share your comment at this time. Okay, I see someone is trying to unmute. Great, go right ahead with your question.
All right, this is Bill Gilliard, State Big Man, Montgomery, Alabama. Now, I wanted to be sure that if I were to go on and do the option 3 tonight,
yes.
What city is the workshop going to be in?
The workshop is going to be in Moreno Valley, California.
Right.
Okay.
But it's in 2 weeks, and if you cannot make that, we will hold the offer for any workshop we do within the next year.
Just spell the name of the city.
City, Moreno Valley, Moreno, Moreno Valley, yes.
California.
Yes, just go to the website, totalspeakerworkshop.com, and all the information, hotel information, and everything will be there on that particular website.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you very much. I was really blessed, and I only caught half of the presentation.
Oh, okay. Well, we're glad you got some value out of it. Thank you for listening.
All right.
All right.
Thank you. And the next person who just tried to unmute, go right ahead with your question or your comment for Dwight and Dan. Just press *6 to unmute your line.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
We can hear you now. Go right ahead.
Okay. So earlier you were talking about if you just feel something to just say it. So this is more so to encourage both of you. Earlier you were talking about not judging your own voice, and what I heard in that statement was don't negate or lessen the impact of what you have to say. And you shared earlier in the program how, you may not be able to change a nation, or we may not really be changing, nations, but in truth, you guys actually are changing nations, because it takes one person to contact that next person who contacts that next person. So I just wanted to encourage you both to realize that it's the likelihood of you impacting nations is greater than the unlikelihood of you not impacting people and nations. So hopefully that will encourage you to continue to move forward, and I definitely appreciate having the opportunity to hear both of you this evening, especially talk about cultivating that voice from within by finding that voice outside of you. Because you're accurate and you're on point by saying there's somebody that needs to hear your voice, and the world will be different and their life will be different because you came that way, because you followed through and cultivated who you were and began to share that gift with the world. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, and thank you for calling me on that, because you're absolutely correct. We are changing a nation. We're starting with an individual. And as you were talking, it dawned on me to think of, all the things that we have heard somebody say to us. They probably just said it in passing. They didn't even know that they had said something to us that changed our lives most of the time. Can you imagine if they had found their voice and said it with intention, how much greater the impact would be?
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah, thank you so much for that comment. And you're absolutely right. And the imagery that came to mind is the pebble in the pond illustration, where the pebble is thrown in the pond and it starts a ripple, and who knows whether that ripple will end up crashing against the shores of someone's mediocrity on the beaches of the world. So You're absolutely right, and that's why we have to continue to bring it out, to pay it forward, to push it forward, and allow it to make a difference in not only our own lives or someone's life, but also on the planet as a whole. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're welcome.
Yes. Thank you. I'm having an Oprah moment. That was a tweet, Mr. Dwight Pleasure, crashing on the shore to somebody's mediocrity. Hey, somebody talk to me now.
Thank you, buddy, girl.
Woo! That was a good one. Wait, we had to play the rewind. Tweet that one out, ladies and gentlemen. That's Dwight Pleasure. Okay, crashing on the shore to somebody's mediocrity. Hey. Anybody else with a question or a comment for my two phenomenal brothers, Dwight Pleasure and Dan Smith? Just press *6 to unmute your line.
Hello, Dwight and Dan.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, this is Denzor. I'm calling from Virginia, and I have a question for you. First, I'd like to, well, before my question, thank both of you for your excellent presentation and the gift of sharing your voices. And I think that, it has impacted me, and I'm pretty sure it impacted, quite a few people that are on the call. My question for both of you is that, as you pour out, to individuals or even groups, how do you recharge yourself? I mean, when you're empty, what is it that you get? Like, how do you go back to the well as you're mentally drained, and what continues to motivate each of you?
Well, that's it.
Okay, I'll take that. The interesting thing about doing this is, I say this in life, about life, the most valuable things in life are the things that the more you give them away, the more you have. And what we give away, when we give away ourselves and we share ourselves, and I've shared some stuff about myself that I never ever thought. I shared that I was molested as a child. That was my secret for almost 40 years. And I've had people come up to me, and I've had couples come up to me, and the wife hugs me and says, "Thank you. I knew something was wrong. I didn't know what it was. We watched your video, and it made all the sense in the world, and now we're making progress." When those types of things happen, that the energy that comes from there is just phenomenal. And knowing that we only see a small fraction of the times that happens. So some people travel to us and travel away, and as I was saying earlier with Evelyn, it doesn't happen for 10, 20, 30 years, but just knowing it's going to happen and trusting that it's going to happen and sort of surrendering to the process is what I do. I just give myself to the process, and energy has never been an issue for me.
Right. Well, it's interesting that you would bring that subject up, because we were working with a coaching client we were talking about the issue of compassion fatigue in terms of where you're giving out, and I would just simply admit that, yeah, there are times when I feel spent, exhausted, and one of the encouragements today in terms of that was that we really need to be mindful of ourselves in this whole exercise of giving, and realizing and knowing that you could only give so much. At some point, you've got to pull away. You've got to begin to meditate. You've got to begin to read. And, of course, Dan and I, especially when we do the calls together, the coaching calls, when he's sharing maybe with the client, I'm listening to what he's saying, and there's a little refueling or a little hors d'oeuvre or something a nugget that I can grab onto that he may be using in that particular exhortation, and it empowers me. It refreshes me. But you're absolutely right. We have to be concerned about not only the client and the giving out that we do, but we have to also rake in and pull in and have times of sabbatical where we step away and recharge ourselves so that we can really show up and make a difference in the lives of those that we work with. Thank you.
And Dwight, not to forget the obvious recharge, the Platinum Network. We have others that's out there doing it, and that we have worked with and we have trained with, and they've watched us stumble, and they've watched us do phenomenal things, and they know all different aspects of us, and they give us honest feedback and support when we need it, and they're just a phone call away.
That's right. You hear that, Stace?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, I get on early so I can hear Stacy and Anita, how they encourage and exhort and stuff, and I'm pumped up and ready. And as Dan said, we draw strength from one another, and that's really the power and the strength of the Platinum Network. Absolutely.
Thank you for sharing that, Dwight. Dan, I definitely appreciate it.
Indeed. Stand by, everybody.
All callers are muted.
Thank you, Dwight and Dan, for answering that question. Thank you to all the callers who were able to share and ask some very, very deep thought questions.
Yeah.
It wasn't just surface questions. You were really listening and you were taking in what was shared tonight. So we appreciate that, and we appreciate all of you taking time out of your Labor Day holiday to be a part of Les Brown's free Motivational Monday Night Call. We normally do announcements at the end of the call, but it is a holiday, and I just want to give you 3 quick assignments. The first one, go to TotalSpeakerWorkshop.com. That's TotalSpeakerWorkshop.com, so you can learn more about what coaching is doing and how you can be involved. And also, I want you to go to LesBrownEvents.com. That's LesBrownEvents.com, where you can find out information on where Mr. Brown will be. And you can also go to his Facebook page, which is brown.les. The official page is brown.les on Facebook. And then here's the bonus assignment. To find out how to connect with all of Les Brown's Platinum speakers and be a part of continued Voices of Hope every single day of the week, and to see and connect with us, please go to Facebook to the Les Brown Platinum Speakers Network. That's Les Brown Platinum Speakers Network on Facebook, and you will be able to connect with us there, and I'll be placing some announcements about how you can connect with the Platinum Speakers. So thank you so much again. Dan and Dwight, any last comments before we close out, as we are close to the top of the hour?
Absolutely. Well, Stacy, thank you. And then I want to also give a special thanks to my partner, Dan Smith, to the blessing that he is to me, and as the other caller was saying, and the encouragement and the strength that I gained from him as we move forward in this endeavor, in this walk of faith, and do the best we can to make an impact and to change lives. So, Dan, I just want to tip my hat to you and say I appreciate you, my friend.
Thank you, Dwight. And I want to say the same thing. Stacy, thank you for hosting the call and having us. And I want to say it's been a pleasure working with you, Dwight. And you know, it's not always walking barefoot through the rose petals, and even when it is, every once in a while there's a thorn. But what I appreciate about working with you, Dwight, is that when we have the tough times, we are committed to each other. And I don't want to say tough as in, you know, really, but when we have differences, we work through them, and we come to quite often we come to a place neither one of us were at when we started, and that's what a partnership is, and that's what when you were talking about burnout earlier, we were talking about burnout. That's what you need in your life, so that you will not burn out. Somebody who you can trust more than you trust yourself, and that's who you are to me, Dwight.
All right, and ladies and gentlemen, this Kumbaya moment was brought to you by D&D Training and Coaching Solutions.
I love it, I love it. Woo! We've had the moment, we've had the tweet, as Oprah would say. This is a ball. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what we do. We are family, the Les Brown Platinum Speakers Network. We enjoy what we do, changing lives, inspiring lives, being a part of Les Brown's Voices of Hope. We thank you for being here and tuning in on behalf of Anita Hicks, my co-host, and myself. We do this work because we love hearing your voice. We love impacting lives and working with our Platinum family. As you can see, we have a lot of fun. If you want to join us to find out more information on how to become a Platinum, you can send a quick email over to Anita at anitahicks.com for more information. But thank you again for tuning in. Continue to enjoy the Labor Day holiday. As the fourth quarter starts up, make sure you continue to get your voice out. Go to the workshop, find out how to tell your story. Make your moment count on this planet. And as Mr. Brown would say, there is greatness in you, and we're here to cheer you on down the line as you bring it out in this thing called life. Bye-bye, Dwight. Bye-bye, Dan. Bye-bye, everyone. See you next week. This is Stacey.
Good night, everyone.
The one and only